Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today. If you're all about focused learning and turning your yard into a literal powerhouse of nutrition, well, you're in exactly the right spot. Today, we're diving into the ultimate visual guide for cultivating one of the most powerful yet vastly underappreciated superfoods right in your own backyard, Aronia. Also known as the black chokeberry, this native shrub is an absolute game changer for your garden. All right, let's just dive right into this number. 340%. That is how many more antioxidants Aronia berries pack compared to everyday blueberries. I know, right? Wild. While blueberries get all the mainstream glory, Aronia is quietly sitting there with over 3 times the antioxidant power, specifically those amazing anthocyanins and flavonoids. It is a genuine medicinal powerhouse, and by the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly why you absolutely need this plant in your life. So, here's our game plan for this explainer. First, why grow Aronia? Then, preparation and proper planting, care, pests and solutions, the secrets of a rich harvest, techniques for advanced gardeners, and we'll wrap up with some practical tips and a finale. Section 1. Why grow Aronia, the ultimate backyard superfood? You know, it's tough to find truly fresh, high antioxidant foods without spending a fortune. But what if you could just step out your back door? The Aronia bush, specifically Aronia melanocarpa, native right here to eastern North America, solves that problem. And let me tell you, this plant is tough as nails. It thrives in zone 3 climates and can actually survive insane winter drops down to minus 40 degrees Celsius. No way, right? Plus, it's a massive producer. We're talking up to 38 pounds, about 17 kilos, of fruit from just one mature bush. Those berries are absolute gold for your health, offering serious cardiovascular and immune support, and even have anti-diabetic properties to help actively lower blood sugar. Now, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room, that nickname, the chokeberry. Eating raw Aronia is, well, it's an intense experience. Surprisingly, they have a lot of natural sugar, but they're completely loaded with tannins. That gives them a super tart, astringent, dry finish that will literally make your mouth pucker. But here's the game changer myth to bust. When you freeze, cook, or juice these berries, that astringency completely mellows out. Processing transforms them into these incredibly delicious, nutrient-dense additions for your jams, juices, teas, and morning smoothies. Section 2. Preparation and proper planting. Setting up for success. So the cool thing is you don't need a sprawling farm for this. You can totally customize your setup based on the size of your yard. Got plenty of space and want massive yields? Go for towering orchard varieties like Viking or Neuro. They shoot up 6 to 8 feet tall and are just heavy with fruit clusters. But if you're working with a tight border or maybe you want an edible ground cover, check out award-winning dwarf varieties like Low Scape Mound or Groundhog. They stay nice and compact, just 1 to 2 feet tall, but still give you gorgeous white spring flowers, brilliant red fall foliage, and a solid berry harvest without taking over the whole garden. When it's time to get your plant in the ground, usually autumn or early spring is best, you want to dig a hole about 40 by 40 centimeters. Think of it as roughly 3 times the width of the root ball. Aronia does prefer slightly acidic, well-draining soil, but honestly, it's famously adaptable. Just mix in some good organic compost, and if you need it, superphosphate and potassium sulfate. Now here's the absolute crucial part. Make sure you plant it exactly at the root collar level and space them about 4 to 6 feet apart. That spacing is a big deal because it guarantees good airflow and light penetration, which you really need for heavy fruit production later. Section 3. Care, pests, and solutions. Keeping your shrubs thriving. Okay, any gardener will tell you that all plants have their moments, but Aronia, super manageable. The absolute golden rule here is sun. They can handle a bit of shade, but for maximum fruit set, you really want a minimum of 6 hours of full sun. Keep the soil evenly moist while they're young, but once they mature, they're actually pretty drought tolerant. Now, since Aronia flowers and fruits on old wood, you'll need to do some renewal pruning in late winter. Basically, every 3 to 5 years, just chop about a third of the oldest, thickest stems right down to the ground. That forces the plant to push out fresh, highly productive younger stems. Oh, and watch out for root suckers. A little shallow cultivation around the base keeps them from spreading into a wild thicket. Now, what's really interesting here is that common foes aren't deal breakers at all. They're actually highly solvable problems using simple organic management strategies. Fire blight sounds scary, right? But you just prune 4 inches below the dead bark and make sure to disinfect your tools. Easy. Notice lace bugs messing up the leaves? Just hit them early with OMRI-approved organic sprays, getting full leaf coverage, and you'll stop them in their tracks. And those hungry birds? Well, they definitely know when the fruit gets sweet. Just toss some protective netting over the bush right as the berries hit peak ripeness. Section 4. The Secrets of a Rich Harvest. Reaping the Rewards. All right, this is the best part. Harvest time. We've nurtured the shrub. Now how do we get our superfood bounty? Harvesting Aronia is delightfully efficient because the entire cluster ripens all at once. You'll want to wait until mid to late August when they hit that deep, glossy purple-black color. But here's a pro tip you absolutely need to remember. Do not pull individual berries off the bush. You can easily damage the wood for next year's crop. Instead, grab some shears and snip the entire cluster. Take them inside, pluck the fruits off the stems, and drop them into a sink full of water. Any berries that float to the top? They probably got bug damage, so just toss those out. So, you've got this perfectly clean harvest. What's next? Aronia is incredibly versatile. Honestly, the very first thing you should do is bag and freeze the fresh berries. The freezing process actually breaks down the tannins and noticeably reduces that astringency we talked about earlier. From there, the sky's the limit. Throw a handful directly into your daily smoothie for a massive antioxidant kick. Cook them down into rich, beautiful dark jams. Or mix the juice with some apple juice for natural sweetness. You can even dry them out to chew on or steep into hot, immune-boosting teas all winter long. You are absolutely getting the most out of your backyard investment here. Section 5. Techniques for Advanced Gardeners, Taking It to the Next Level. For those of you ready to level up your gardening mastery, integrating permaculture principles is a fantastic next step. Picture this. You plant your Aronia right alongside blueberry bushes on a nice sunny slope. Then, beneath them, you plant strawberries as a living, edible ground cover. It holds in soil moisture, suppresses weeds, and boom, you've got a beautifully integrated, multi-layered edible landscape. And hey, remember those root suckers we mentioned? Don't just chop them down. You can actually dig them up and transplant them to multiply your harvest for free. And speaking of free plants, if you really want to multiply your bushes, you have to try this brilliant branch layering technique. In the spring, just find a low, flexible branch and bend it all the way down to the bare ground. Scrape a little bit of the bark off the bottom side, maybe 6 inches back from the tip. Weigh that scraped section down against the dirt with a rock or a brick, but leave the tip sticking up into the air. By the next season, that scraped area will have sprouted its own robust root system. Just snip it away from the mother plant, and you've got a brand new, genetically identical Aronia bush ready to plant elsewhere in your yard. Section 6. Practical Tips and Finale, wrapping up your Aronia journey. Man, we have covered so much ground today, summarizing the incredible, long-lasting value this resilient plant brings to any backyard. Now, just a quick friendly reminder before we wrap things up. While this explainer brings you all the essential science and steps directly from the source material, it is just for informational purposes. Things like local soil, microclimates, and regional pests can totally vary. So your local gardening experts or university extension offices, they are always your best friends for personalized gardening success right in your own zip code. So I want to leave you with this one final thought. Knowing what you know now, that you can effortlessly grow a plant packing 340% more antioxidants than blueberries, a plant that can survive minus 40-degree winters and requires minimal care to produce dozens of pounds of fruit, where are you going to plant your first Aronia bush this season? Whether it's a massive Viking in the back corner or a compact little low-scape mound along your front walkway, it's time to start digging. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and happy planting.